Alright, party people. Welcome back to the podcast. Yeah, so this is just going to be a general update, just because I don't have a main topic, but I have recorded some episodes that I have not yet posted. I got a little bit unorganized recently because of just a little bit, like the new month with work, the new work goals, and then, choosing some studying time and some leisure time of just like watching random movies on YouTube. If you guys don't know, YouTube has movies that are free sometimes, and then sometimes they're buy or rent, or maybe it's buy only, or I don't know if I've seen any that say rent only, but I mean, it's kind of cool. I don't think they're refundable at all if you buy it, unless it's like accidental. Maybe they'll refund you. I've never tried that, but I have it linked to my phone because I have premium YouTube. It is one of the apps I do pay for. This is not like an advertisement. I like it because, I do drive, and I do like to listen to a lot of content with my phone, the screen off, and that does give me the availability to be able to do so. To listen to music, to listen without like the advertisements. Now, when content creators put their advertisements or their affiliations and all that kind of stuff in there, I can't bypass that any other way than just, either scrubbing through or just skipping forward like is it 10, 15, or 30 seconds? I don't know. I think it's like 10 seconds. I don't know. Some apps do like 30 seconds. Some apps do like 15 seconds. I'm kind of blanking on which apps are which at this point, but I think YouTube does 10-second increments where you can kind of like fast forward that amount of time. So I usually just hit that like a few times and then it fast forwards for me. But I don't know if I do anything else. I think that's the only thing I do is just fast forward. So there's that, and yeah, but I noticed that they take the movies off of free, but it does give you an extra little option, like if you have like Prime movies or video or whatever, and if you have Netflix, and then if people like bootleg stuff, fmovies.to. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that, but they definitely have a lot of ads. Like, you definitely need like a VPN option, and don't steal movies. But yeah, they're already pre-stolen. I don't know. It's good enough quality. Last night I watched on there the majority of what's it called? It was like that Black Panther movie, not the superhero Black Panther, but Black Panther Party. It was called Judas and the Black Messiah. I forget that main actor's name, the one who was like the head Black Panther in that movie. I forget the actor's name, but I believe he's the same guy that's in like Us and those other kind of thriller movies. So I was like, let me catch up with some of the movies that he's been in. I think he's the same guy. I am so bad with actors, guys. I am so bad with actors and their names, and like I just don't pay attention. I'll be real. Like, I don't even really focus on it or really even, like, pay attention to, like, who they really are. Unless, like, it's really, really, like, someone who I significantly actively look for new movies with them. Like Leonardo DiCaprio's one that I don't think there's ever been a movie he was in that I did not like. So some people like that I've been watching ever since they were like young, like Johnny Depp and stuff like that. There are a lot of people that I follow actor-wise that work with good directors too. You know, they tend to work with good directors too, so they're always in movies that are pretty entertaining and just good. And ever since they've been around, since like childhood, I've liked pretty much every movie they've been in, even if it wasn't really like my ideal type of movie. It's always been kind of, you know, like certain actors I do know, but I'm not like a lot of people who know like all the like Jennifer Anistons and blah 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 blah. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I kind of can guess and like wing it a little bit, like a little bit of like match the person to the name or match the name to the person kind of thing. Kind of almost as good as I do with like NBA players. It's kind of like I can tell which ones are famous. When I see them, I'm like, I know I've seen them in this and this and that or whatever. And I can tell which ones were famous from what, but I don't generally know like all of their names and everything. Like, but I know some of their names, just not all. But yeah, I mean, I've been kind of spending some free time watching like movie shows, some stuff that I consume other than right now that I'm watching movies that one dude has been in. I'm, you know, trying to catch up with some of the stuff off of Showtime, because they usually have a couple series that I like, The L Word and The Chi. So on occasion I'll subscribe to their to Showtime, and I'll cancel my subscription when I finish watching what I'm watching. But I don't keep that subscription all the time. Only when I'm watching something. And I do prefer to watch things when they're fully finished, so I can just watch them when I have time, just watch it all at once instead of spreading out the stories and stuff, because sometimes once I put something down, I honestly will not come back to it. So yeah, I don't know if I explained, but in case you don't notice, in case you can't notice or hear the situation of my driving here, I am driving to San Diego. So I'm in LA, driving kind of the streets, getting up to the freeway so I can drive south. I'm gonna hit the 405 south. Usually I take the 110 to the 405, but today I'm driving the streets to the 405. Then I'm gonna be in Chula Vista for this concert tonight to see Rufus Du Sol, with some of my favorite concert buddies. These buddies I have not seen concerts together with both of them at the same time, but I've seen concerts with both of them at separate times, and so I'm excited to kind of have like a different dynamic and kind of see, you know, what comes up with our hangout, and as far as like the memories and the experiences and just having a good time. I am so glad to be going to San Diego. I've explained multiple times that, you know, I'm really trying not to settle into my life in LA. I mean, it's taken a lot of unpacking mentally for me to kind of get to a space where I'm like, okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. I do want San Diego, the environment, the fact that I can drive to or from LA whenever I feel up to it. But I want to live in San Diego, at least for the time being. That's where I want to live, just not with the people I lived with before. Speaking of them, I was able to catch up with them a little bit, mainly because, I did the main house owner a solid by allowing him to give me back my deposit at a later date, because I knew the lease there was ending in October. So I did tell him, I'll wait. I moved in June. I was like, I can wait past the summer, and I hit him up late September. I tried to do everything just by texting only, but he's mentioning that he has trouble texting and writing and stuff like that. And now I think it's a health related thing from what he's mentioning, because he's got some issues, I guess, with his, there might be some shakiness involved, so I don't think he's really able to easily text. But I don't think that's exactly why he's not texting. I think he just likes to talk on the phone. So I had time yesterday, and I ended up just catching up with him. Like, just him financially, he's not doing too good, because he can't work because he's got some physical health problems right now, and then he needs to find the place by Friday so they can move out. He mentioned that he's applying, but I don't know if he found the solid place. And then, so yeah, he mentioned he's applying, but didn't really find like a solid place, or I can't tell if he found the solid place. And then the lady with the dog, she hit me up and she was like, I can't believe he didn't give you back your deposit. And I'm like, don't worry, I just arranged it this way, and I just avoided talking with him over it because I didn't want to talk about it. I was like, damn, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I didn't want to talk to him. That was the thing. I didn't not want to talk about my deposit, but he's the kind of person that once you start talking to, it's like he'll get you on the phone for a good hour at least. So I tried as much as I could by text to kind of get the ball rolling on that, and then there was some confusion. So he's the one who kind of basically, I don't know, I call him a lot of different types of titles, but he basically collects the rent, and he kind of like manages, like a little bit, like he's not really a landlord, he's not an owner. He just kind of takes care of the place and is kind of like in charge of renting it out to people, and kind of like finding the tenants and stuff like that. I don't know if he gets paid on the side for doing that kind of job, but he does do that job, and so I'm not sure like his payment exactly or what goes on with that. But there's another guy, like the money is never in this specific guy's account. So there's another guy and a lady who they are the ones who own and manage the actual housing property. And so I think one is like the official landlord. I know she's like a Vietnamese lady. And then there's like an African guy. I don't know if he's African American or African. He has an African first and last name and an accent, but I don't know exactly which country he's from. I've only spoken to him maybe twice total. He introduced himself by name, and like he crashed on the couch a couple nights, like it was like a couple years back. So, and I saw his wife once, maybe like a year ago, come and like move his stuff out because he had some stuff stored at the house. So otherwise I don't really interact with that main housing lady or this other guy. I only interact with the guy who I actually lived with in the house, because he lived in that house with us, with the rest of us. And so he's the one I talked to. He's the contact person. And it turned out that they kind of were like, oh yeah, you paid the rent in May. And I was like, yeah, I paid the rent in May. And then I said my official move out date was June 15, but I know I was already in LA by June 10th because I had I was getting my car fixed. I was getting my car registration done and then the car fixed and stuff. So I know I was already in LA by June 10th because my car registration was due June 10th, and I got all the paperwork and everything finally solidified by June 10th, right by the skin of my teeth. So yeah, like that's getting resolved. Just all this little like tying up loose ends, and then yeah, it's just kind of it's hard to kind of get a schedule going when I've got all this other kind of stuff happening. But it's not impossible. It's not going bad. It's not going poorly. I'm not unable to do it. It's just, you know, there's some stuff I have to prioritize more, and some stuff I have to, you know, work on a little bit less, just to be able to, you know, do what I kind of need to finish. But honestly, a lot of this stuff isn't, you know, now that I'm in the new house, new living environment, it's not a new house, but now that I'm at my family's house and in a different living environment, I'm not as concerned, because I'm able to kind of recover my energy, kind of get things on track when I need to. And then like today, I only worked until 11, packed up my stuff, kind of did all the texting I needed to do, and did all the follow-up I needed to do with my, not follow-up, but like, you know, I when I drive long distances, I put a playlist on my phone of YouTube videos that I'm gonna listen to. So I've got some Taco Tarantino queued up in the playlist that I'm gonna listen after I'm done with all the recordings I want to put in for today. At least while I'm driving those recordings. So I'm awaiting the time when I can listen to that too. And then, yeah, otherwise I'm just, you know, excited to be going down to San Diego. I've seen Rufus Du Sol before. I'm excited to do it again tonight. I'm going to be crashing at a hotel in San Diego, in Chula Vista, but yeah, San Diego, tonight. So that's going to be kind of cool. I'm glad to be able to avoid the traffic coming all the way back. And, you know, I'm going to end up staying till Saturday morning because, I mean, I was just going to stay, like, and leave Thursday morning when I check out, but then, Friday, wait, I'm confused. Today's Wednesday, so I was just going to leave Thursday morning when I check out because I took Thursday off, but then another one of my friends hit me up, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to be in town till the 11th. So I was like, sweet, I really want to hang out with him. And then if we can make it work with the schedule, that'll be good. If not, it's fine. But if we can make it work, I just want to try to arrange with everybody I can that I want to see, and catch up. I mean, like, the thing that I think is really cool about my friends is that, you know, we can hang, grab dinner, grab a drink, grab a smoothie, take a little walk. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be like a whole like year-long event or like whole like 3 days spent together or like a really lengthy event. Like, we're able to kind of hang out and just like catch up and do what we do. And I'm trying to, that's why I do like going down to San Diego, staying more days, because it's kind of cool to see like one person a day, depending on what we're doing, maybe 2 people in a day if I've got the full day free. But like, I'm back at work on Friday, so you know, I'll be off at 4, and so it would be cool to just like work and then see somebody after work. So I think I've got plans with a friend on Friday after work, and then I've got plans, tentative plans tomorrow. So I'm gonna see if I can plan with my guy friend tomorrow. And then Saturday, I need to see if I can plan with my friends Saturday. So but I don't really know. Saturday might not actually happen because I might want to get out of town like Saturday morning. I check out at 11, so 11 at the latest I'm gonna leave. That's if I'm kind of tired, but I think I'll be able to leave like around 9. I prefer to leave like 9 so that I miss the lunch traffic. I'll get most of the way to LA usually by 10 o'clock on weekends. If you know that drive, if you're familiar with it, usually by 10 a.m. on Saturday specifically, people start driving up or down. Like either way, like traffic kind of sucks Saturday mornings. But usually 9 o'clock, you're clear till like 10. But I mean, if I sit in like an hour worth of traffic, like when the traffic picks up around 10 a.m., it's not really that bad. But I don't want to be in traffic like starting at like 11 or 11:30 or something. Say if I have to like stop and get food or gas or whatever, might push it to like 11:30, and then I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the like 11:30 kind of thing, and then that would really suck. Let's be real, that would really freaking suck. To drive, yeah, because it's like 3 hours and 15 minutes versus maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I mean, that's a big chunk, and driving like that can significantly screw up your gas situation. And so I'm kind of, like, I'm so cheap right now, you guys, like, honestly, because of the back and forth drives to and from San Diego. I'm not broke, but I really need to do some more budgeting, because this was going to be a one-day trip, and just for my own social and emotional enjoyment, I decided to expand my trip to Saturday morning instead of leaving Thursday morning. So I am working still too, but I do have to come back to San Diego because we have a paycheck that's about to post, because it's a quarter date, and so every quarter we get these additional paychecks if we did whatever it is that the insurance needed us to do. They cut us, each person, they cut an extra check, not an extra 2 weeks worth of pay, but it's like, it's a little more than 1 week's worth of pay. So it's like, that's pretty good in my opinion. Like after the deductions, it's a little more than 1 week. So it's not that bad, honestly. Like, it's fine. And so that's something to look forward to, but then I do have to drive back. So I like being in San Diego. I just don't really prefer the drive. And then the cost of hotels is not cheap. And then having to deal with the check-in times and stuff. Like, I wish that they had an option where the check-in times weren't like 3 p.m. because it's like, I mean, some are 2 p.m. Most are 3 p.m. I think, and then some of them I've seen are 4 p.m. But it's like, you don't even get a full day. Like, you should be able to check in. I mean, I understand maybe midnight isn't convenient for a hotel site, but it's like, I feel like if checkout is at 11, why can't you check in at 11? Like, I kind of get, yeah, they're going to clean up the rooms and stuff, but it's like, I do feel like I don't know. Like, I know you can do an early check-in and early check-out, or late check-out or whatever, but it's like, I do everything through Expedia, through the app. I just click the buttons and stuff. It's kind of simpler that way, and so I don't really use any other booking method just because I've used that for so many years now. It's just a little bit easier for me to just, all my data's in one app for the most part. I don't think I've recently gone outside of that app. But there's that. But yeah, I'm thinking about like how financially, how things are gonna be going in the upcoming future, because this coming Monday, October 10th, is gonna be the start of having Mondays off. I told my work for 16 weeks I'm treating it like a full semester, even though I've been, okay, sorry, so windows closed. Even though I've been, having these study plans and been studying for a while now, I do try to make it, I am trying to take Mondays off so I can study and get further along, and I'm 27% done now, so that's not that bad. I was wanting to be 25% done by this past Sunday, so I already passed that, so that's fine. I just need to, I'm hoping, that by this Sunday, I don't think I'll be 50% done, but I'm hoping by Tuesday, the 11th, since I'll be able to study all day Monday, I hope I'll be close to 50% done. I just don't know what's going to happen, because right now I've got books I'm reading, and that was the first part of the course, was like a lot of introductory and reading of books. So this will be my last book that I'm finishing, and then once I finish this book, I don't really know how it's going to look, like if it's going to be lectures or exams, or like it's on there, like there's a syllabus on there, but I don't really know like what the coursework itself looks like outside of the books and quizzes on the books and tests on the books. Like I don't really know what it looks like outside of books. If it's just going to be listen to lectures, take a quiz kind of thing, that should be pretty fast. If it's just going to be, if there's no tests, that'll be even faster. I don't think we have papers, but I am taking notes on the books, and I am going to go back through the quizzes and take notes off the quizzes that I passed for the other books, because the quizzes are basically in order of the books, of the content of the books. And now that I'm in the last book, I actually have gained a lot of knowledge, and I do understand a lot more thoroughly, like not in like extreme detail, but like a lot more thoroughly. Like I can kind of like understand what we're talking about finally, like what means what, like who in these job positions has what role, like what the role looks like kind of start to finish, and then comparing different like models and stuff of like different theories of how to like do the job. So that at first it was all just like new terminology, new type of content. Just it's the interesting thing is though, with all the side hustle things I've done throughout the years, it's not completely unfamiliar. It's just I never had like terminology and theory and like methods behind it. I was just like testing stuff, and then I would find a method that like a strategy that kind of worked for me to a certain point, that I saw some results, and the strategies that worked, that got me results that were good enough to my liking, where it was worth my time and energy and effort, I just stuck to those strategies. But like I mentioned before, during the pandemic, a lot of that stuff dried up, because if you're dealing with drop shipping from China, or if you're dealing with a lot of like in-person purchases, like through OfferUp type of stuff, or Let's Go and that kind of, those types of apps, like a lot of the in-person stuff with cash only kind of didn't really pan out. And then a lot of stuff just, it was just too much work to put in, considering that this whole entire time, all these years, I've been working full time. And the job I had before this one before 2020, well, before late May of 2020, I was working at another site where I had so much overtime as well and a lot less energy. And so I used this job to kind of do what I needed to kind of get the move going, get the career path change kind of like started up, and now I'm kind of like in the process of just like continuing all these things, as well as podcasting, but I'm continuing all this stuff. But in the mix, I'm kind of doing a little bit of back and forth. I don't want to call it commute because it's not that consistent, but like I mentioned before, I purchased all these tickets for stuff, and on occasion I do have to go to be in the office in person. So the days when I'm not needing to be remote, I do have to plan to get down there. So I try to make my social interactions kind of timed with the times I'm going to be down there, but I'm not down there every week. It's about, maybe at the least, it's been once a month. But I think it's almost about 2 times a month, which is still a bit of money, but I'm saving a lot too. But sometimes, I don't know, it is, I can save a lot more money if I just eat at home. But I've kind of explained before how like my parents' preferred diet is a little different from mine. They're very carb heavy, very fat and oil heavy, very salt heavy, very meat heavy. I'm really trying to eat a lot more fruits and vegetables, and they're not really doing that. Or if I can't eat a lot of fruits, not that I can't, but like, if, like, for example, I ate sushi last night. I ate sushi before I just left to drive. But I also had McDonald's between yesterday and today. I got a breakfast combo, and I split it for both breakfasts. So those types of things, it's like not necessary expenses, but sometimes I just want something different. And it's not even fully healthy, but it's like I'd rather eat sashimi type of fish meat than McDonald's cooked sausages or their burgers and stuff. And then I think on the weekend, on Saturday, I ate like a Wiener Schnitzel hot dog. One of them was veggie. And then I got the munchies and ended up eating the other one anyways that I had saved for. I was going to save it for Sunday, but I didn't eat it Sunday. I ate it Saturday night. I ate so much. Oh my gosh, I had the munchies so hard. Like, and that's another thing too. Like I was cutting down with the edibles. I think the ones I have right now, I might just give them away. I mean, I hate to be wasteful, but I might just give them away. I'm gonna be real, like, cause I feel like I got more benefit out of the CBD dominant edibles that had maybe a little tad of THC, because I wasn't even eating the whole edible. I was eating, like, I was portioning it out, so it was just a little bit of CBD and then quite a bit of THC. No, sorry, I said that opposite. A little bit of THC and a lot more of CBD. Right now, the edibles I have a hybrid and a hybrid gummy, and I have a separate pack of what do you call it? Well, it's also a hybrid, but it's like THC with CBN, and it's got a little bit of CBN. I feel like those are too heavy for me, and I have confirmed that edibles like that do kind of curb my sleep a little bit, so that, you know, when I do have a lot of THC in an edible form at night, I do tend to wake up around 3 a.m. And that did happen at least once this week. I can't recall if it happened twice. But I've been waking up probably around 6 a.m., maybe a little before 6 a.m. I try not to check my clock too much, but in the mornings, because then I just get frustrated if I do want to go back to bed. If it's like early and I'm like, I got like an hour, but I know the sun's coming out like at 6 something, like 6:15, 6:30, somewhere around there, 6:20, somewhere around there. So yeah, but so yeah, that's something I want to do. Is just kind of curb my sleep back, and then like, you know, with the I think CBD is just a better choice, because I have a THC vape pen anyways. So it's like, if I'm gonna, you know, if I want THC, I feel like it needs to be primarily in a it needs to be in a vaping form, because I can't really smoke bowls or joints or blunts, or can't hit bongs, nothing. Like I can't, you know, no pre-rolls, nothing like that, just because I you know, just where I live, it's just not gonna work so easily. Like, nobody really cares, but it's like, I just don't want people involved in that part of my life. Not everybody. And I feel like, you know, if I'm not vaping, it's a little more apparent that I'm smoking something. So I'm really, you know, I'm trying to just keep it to myself, because it's like, it's something I do for night and for rest and sleep. Oh no. Sorry, I'm smelling something that I cannot tell if this is coming from my car or not. I hope not. Sorry, I'm smelling something on the road. Like a burning smell. I don't think it's coming from my car. I don't see any smoke. I mean, I just did get all these repairs not that long ago, so we should be good. And it might have been the smell of tar or some kind of construction thing, or somebody else's car. I don't know if it was like burning rubber or something burning, or like, you know, the tar or like the pavement kind of smell. Let me see. I turned off my air because I wasn't sure if that's where it was coming from. But the smell's gone. Okay. Well, the smell's gone now, so I don't think it was my car. Yeah, this car, man, I gotta get rid of this thing. Like, before it just stops being functional, I got to get rid of it. Not quite there yet, though. I'm not quite there. I'm getting there, but this isn't on my priority list. Another thing I'm doing, oh my gosh, I got like a list, guys. That's why I'm like, let me just put this out there. Like, I'm not getting bogged down by it, because I'm definitely making moves, but it's like, it's just so much, you know, because I've had so much accumulating over the years and months that I didn't really get to really handle. So I'm seeing more and more now that during, you know, this economic climate and that housing crisis climate and all these climates, healthcare, you know, climate, mental health care, mental health care climate, all these climates of different things, just the world in general, you know, with the way things are going, I'm kind of seeing more and more that my decision to just live with the family for now is a good decision, because I'm able to just knock out all these things, even though it's little by little, but it's like, it's definitely happening. I'm way more along than I was in I'm way more along than I was in what sorry, I'm trying to figure out when this was. Sorry, I'm blanking. then like in May when I started the moving process, I didn't want to move to LA though. Like that's not the whole, but that's part of the reason why I stuck out the San Diego thing, because I was like, I'd rather stay here with all this nonsense. But when I realized kind of like what was happening for me, and that, you know, even at the time I moved, like in May, it wasn't even the same climate as it is now. And so in October, and so when I initially moved, you know, or started moving, and then finally moved in June, I didn't really know like what my exact goals were, so I was like developing goals as well as kind of trying to get help with trying to develop the goals and get some momentum. So I did engage with like therapy a couple times since I've been in LA, but it was like short term. It was a little more helpful than not having it, but it wasn't fully helpful. But I did notice that I was eventually, you know, through processing everything, I kind of was able to lay out, you know, I was able to lay out kind of like my, you know, struggle and stress regarding like moving away from friends, and just kind of why I was feeling the way I was feeling. Like it wasn't really making sense to me. I was like, okay, like the crazy roommate's out of my life. Like why am I still feeling like this? You know, like it was like I was feeling a little bit lower, but I didn't know why. I was like, I should be feeling better, but it did take me a while. And I do think back now to, you know, when I was interacting with one of my childhood friends, the one that I said that was like a stressful interaction to some extent, where it was like maybe I wasn't really ready to be talking about all this stuff with anybody, especially that person, because they're gossipy. But at the same time, I think that solidified a lot of what I was dealing with. Just speaking it out loud to a person who knows me really well. We've known each other since we were freaking like 5 years old. And so just kind of talking to somebody about where we both are in life right now, and how we kind of, not necessarily went wrong, but how we're kind of growing from our decisions that we've made, and kind of getting onto new footing and onto a new path. Different paths, of course, but like in our own speed, at our own times, in our own ways. But I think I'm seeing it a little more clearly now. And I've definitely noticed a change in my mindset. I think the edibles for that, I think the edibles for moving my mental state into like being more prepared to just kind of take more things on, and just kind of determining, like kind of hitting a point where I've determined that, you know, a lot of the stuff that I'm just like telling myself I'm too fearful about, or anxious about, or worried about, or uncertain about, like it's just another way of postponing and, you know, putting off progress, and putting off moving forward. And I am moving forward, and I do want to move forward, and I'm glad that I'm moving forward. But I did have a while there where I was kind of like stopping myself from doing that by kind of laying out all the like negative stuff I was noticing. I was like, this is a bad decision. This is going to be another one of those things, you know. But when I started putting things into motion, you know, telling my work, you know, that I need to reduce my days, and that I'm taking these classes, and that I'm gonna be soon in an interview process, and once I land an internship, I'll be giving my notice. Once I started like talking to my work like that, like in mid-September, like it was the weekend before. it was during the week before the 16th, because I remember my mom's birthday was September 16th, and it was before that. So whatever those few weekdays were before that, I had sent the email out to them. And finally the Mondays off are going to start on October 10th. And so, I mean, I'm definitely doing a lot. It's just, you know, I'm, man, like, I really am certain I wouldn't have been able to do all of this with the energy drain of staying in that other house, just because I was losing so much sleep. I mean, I could barely even function at my job, in all honesty. Like, I wasn't even really legit doing too good at work. Like, I was kind of doing enough to, like, get by off the bare minimum of things, but I was not doing well. I was not thriving at all. And, you know, I was kind of just maintaining what I had, and that was deteriorating at the same time. And so I'm glad to be out of the heck of that. And then as far as, like, I think that's mostly all I've got going on. I mean, I haven't really been too social except for the last time I was down in San Diego. But that is a big difference in my life, because I'm not going out and doing stuff every weekend. Like, my dad was in town for a while, and that kind of limits a little stuff for me, because, like, you know, me and my mom, like, I don't know, my family, we're not big talkers. I'm kind of noticing that, you know, it's like, I kind of came to a realization about a lot of it. Like, not necessarily between me and my siblings, but more so between my siblings, including myself, and then between my parents and siblings. And, yeah, how my parents are with us is just kind of, like, I mean, it's fine, but I have noticed, too, there have been a lot of changed dynamics. We're all kind of independent now, so it's kind of like my parents' roles are a little different. So it is a little challenging to try to still do what I'm going to do independently for my own self, and still fully engage with them in a way that they find valuable. And you know, so I know when I'm hanging out with my mom, like, we can watch Sopranos, we can watch movies, we can catch up like that, but when I'm hanging out with my you know, when my dad's there, he doesn't really like having those kind of movies on when he's around the house. He prefers people to just watch that by themselves. Not really because it's like a group thing, but more so he doesn't believe in, you know, R-rated movies, or movies with violence, or movies with sexual content, or basically any movie. Like, most movies kind of have adult content, even if it's PG. I still remember watching that cartoon Madeline, or is it Madeline or Madeline? I don't know, where I think it was like, you know, the one that they have those like yellow uniforms or whatever, and the hat, or if it was black with like a hat, I can't remember, but I think she's like an orphan living in an orphanage or something. I can't remember the exact story, but I think there were like nuns or some kind of like people in charge that were like mean to the kids. And there was a scene in the cartoon where I think this is like an old cartoon, not even, if there's a recent one, it wasn't a recent one, it was an old cartoon, where they were like either hitting the kids or whatever. I can't remember what it was. Like, they were doing something with the kids. And my dad walked in right at that time, and it was like, he was not happy that we were watching that and had us turn it off. And there was another time when High School High came out, if you remember that movie. And there was this scene where, it's such an old movie. Basically, the story is like a white guy goes to teach in like an inner city school, basically where everyone's predominantly black in the school, and then he goes to teach in the school, and they were like saying how like, oh, the area is so bad that like the buses don't even stop, so you'd have to like jump on or off the bus or whatever. And it was kind of like a little bit of a movie about his little culture shock experience. And then I think there was like a teacher or another staff that he was like, I think he was into her or something. But anyways, like there was a scene where like it was like a clumsy kind of scene, but like there was a lot of like moaning sounds and like sounds that sounded like they were having sex or something, but they weren't. Like in the scene, they were like running into walls, and like I think there was like a fish tank involved, and so you would hear people just like making all kinds of noises. And so I think my dad came from like another room. This is so long ago. This is like, we rented this from Blockbuster, so this was a long time ago. So my dad came from another room, and he just heard in the background what sounded like sex going on for a while in a movie, and he came and was like, yeah, you guys need to turn this off. But this was like way back when we still lived over by LAX, so it was like either early high school days or even before high school. This was like so long ago. But yeah, and so that happened, and then yeah, he was in town, so like I kind of just between him, you know, not really being cool with like a lot of types of movies and stuff, like the only kind of movies or shows we can really watch that he kind of likes are like, other than sports, those judge shows, and I do like those judge shows, and then Family Feud. Like we would watch a lot of Family Feud during dinner. A lot of it was Steve Harvey, but I think there were some older game shows too. It was like a game show channel. I don't know what the heck, but that kind of stuff. It's kind of like, I don't know, unless you're really into that kind of stuff, there's only so much you're gonna watch, right? And so for me, it was like, okay, I was just doing more of like creative stuff while he was in town, and then he left. And so, yeah, but I was kind of realizing the other day, I think it was yesterday or a couple days ago, that like, yeah, with my folks, there's not really a lot of open communication about our lives. I kind of have my own theory about it. It's kind of a couple theories I have that are kind of like ideas that are kind of connected to each other. So one thing is that, you know, like I don't think my parents had the best of like maybe healthy, or definitely not wealthy, but I don't know if they had the best of like healthy upbringings on some emotional ends of things. They both seemed like they were independent pretty early on, but that's not uncommon for the age range that my parents are. Like for their generation, once you're like 18, 19, 20, you could kind of make it on your own. So my folks both met in college, but my dad was, my mom had been working too, my dad too. Like they have a history of like just work since they were like at least adult age, and both finished high school. And I don't think my mom finished her bachelor's degree, but she was going to school at a certain time when I was around like 7th grade, 5th grade, somewhere around there. She was always interested in business, and she did go to school for a while, but I think she just didn't like the way she wasn't at the house kind of taking care of us. Like, we weren't like bad kids, not like that, but I mean, like, you know, I think she preferred to have a closer eye on us, because she did a good job just kind of making herself available. Maybe not fully like emotionally available, but you know, if we were sick, she could pick us up from school. If we forgot our lunch, she could take it over. Like, stuff for like school projects. She could take us shopping for that, and then like chaperoning us when we got a little older, like to and from like the mall and all this kind of stuff. Like, I mean, yeah, and then like around to like church events and stuff. Like, I mean, she like growing up, my mom has always been like way more involved in my life than my dad, and so like, you know, I would see her every day of the week all the time and just interact all the time. And even if it was just like, you know, casual interactions, but a lot of times she was like, I remember like she'd be like zoned out watching TV kind of stuff, like unwinding, because, you know, she was taking care of us all day. She'd be the one who would wake us up, get us dressed, make breakfast. There was a time period where we would make breakfast when we got a little bit older, but then like we didn't always do that consistently. But yeah, breakfast in the morning, and she would make dinner at night and prepare our lunches and stuff. Like, my dad would cook too, but he never always fully cooked. And then I remember I used to say that I like my dad's cooking better than my mom's, but I feel like my dad would cook like on occasion. Like, he used to cook growing up. He would cook like on Sundays sometimes, or like he would get like Saturday, you know, we get a big meal, and you know, for our late lunch, you know, after church, if there was no potluck, and we'd usually eat lunch as a family on Saturdays, and then, or we'd go out to eat on Saturdays and usually have leftovers from the meal and have them at night or whatever. Like, Saturdays, I don't think there was usually dinner being cooked, or we would go out with our friends at night and eat that way. And then Sundays, I think my dad would usually cook dinner on Sundays. Not always, but I remember almost every Sunday I remember him barbecuing. Like, I don't know if it was really every Sunday, but I know very, very frequently he would barbecue at least, or make some like African meal. But very like, you know, barbecue meat kind of based stuff. But I feel like when I was growing up, it seemed like it was a little healthier, and he got kind of into a not so healthy routine of cooking a little more recently. And so I noticed it around maybe the 4th of July when he made some food, and I was just like, whoa, this is like so salty, I almost can't eat it. It was really salty. And so just things like that that I'm kind of noticing is like, it's kind of a little complicated when I fast forward to now to try to like interact with the family, because like, you know, before it was like, okay, a lot of us, even when we were working, we didn't really have money like that. Like, it was like little paychecks, making like $7, $8 something an hour. It wasn't a whole lot of money at all. And then like, yeah, working that amount of time, and then like, yeah, like I said, like 7, 8 hours or whatever. And then or $7 or $8. I mean, like, we didn't work full-time shifts because I was in college when I was doing that. And then, yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I'm thinking, like, when it comes to, like, my folks, like, we kind of never really were too, like, emotionally involved with one another. Like, it was more like I grew up, like, my parents say to do something and we do it. Usually it was my dad, like, you know, dictating what happens in this house, and like, he was the main like rule setter type person. But my mom's pretty lenient with stuff. She's just kind of like, as long as everybody's healthy and happy and okay. I don't think my dad ever really cares. Like, he doesn't seem to be aware of or notice if people are happy. He just notices, like, financially, are you doing good? You know, education-wise, career opportunity-wise, are you doing good? he's not too focused and never really has been too focused on like the day-to-day kind of stuff, just more like the overall, like, can you be an independent adult? And then, you know, living in an American society with parents of like African kind of culture, you know, and black culture, it's like black and American black culture, like it's just very interesting to kind of see all the dynamics at play when I kind of see like, okay, like I'm in the setting where I'm almost always the minority just because of how I've landed in my career and where I've landed as far as like living environments and places like that, like places I've lived, places I've chosen to live. I've never lived around people who looked like me or had the same backgrounds as I do or anything like that, really. Like, not the majority of the people. Usually that's another minority that I'm usually interacting with. And then, yeah, as far as, like, just general, like, my parents, like, you know, like I mentioned, they weren't raised very wealthy. They both had families with multiple siblings, 2-parent households, but, you know, small households. It's not like they had, like, massive housing. And, you know, my grandma's house, where my mom grew up, I remember my grandpa being there when I was, like, young. I was very, very young. My grandpa was around. I was probably younger than 5, probably like 4 or something. And I think I remember the night that he passed away, but I don't remember 100% if that was exactly what happened. There's just a night that I think I remember. I remember his funeral vaguely. I remember where I sat and kind of what the setting looked like, but I don't remember way too much. I remember kind of him, like, but yeah, I was like very, very young. I was like probably younger than kindergarten, I'm pretty sure, because we hadn't even moved to LA yet. So he passed away, but yeah, my parents were already married. We were already living in I don't know if we were living in Columbia, Missouri at that time, or if I was living with my family in that really, really small town nearby where the Amish live. I'm not too sure where I was living then, but it was one of the two. And then, yeah, I just remember growing up with my parents just working so much. Like, we were always like cared for, but they were working a lot. And, you know, there is like a bit of an abusive history, somewhat in my family with some family members and my parents as well. But I don't think they would identify it as abuse. Like, when I talk to them, they're not like, oh yeah, that was abuse. But definitely it's stuff that, you know, nowadays would be reportable. So it's like, in my opinion, it was abuse just because of how it affected me. And I do think that, you know, I mean, my sister, her being so much younger, she didn't have the same experiences as me and my brother. She's about 8-9 years younger than we are. And so by that point, they were a little more settled and older and mature. And I think they were able to kind of get under control whatever the heck it was that they were kind of not controlling at that point. But yeah, it's never really been like a super comfortable household when my dad's been around, just because like we couldn't just do whatever. And when I say do whatever, I don't mean like, you know, like cussing out your parents or whatever. Like, we were always like a respectful household, respectful to one another. We got along good enough, but I do think that the history that we have together, and whatever history that my parents have of their past that led them to kind of be the way that they were in those younger years. I mean, there's something that made them affected to be that way, and so, or to even like allow certain things to be happening, like they were kind of that way. And so I notice, I'm aware, but I don't blame them. I don't hold grudges, but I do think that a lot of it plays a role. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at, is that a lot of stuff that they had that wasn't resolved, and they come from a different time, different place, where it's not like there were even like mental health resources, like that wasn't like a thing. And then, you know, they give birth to these kids. They become these kind of like hippy dippy, half hobo kids that they raised. They couldn't really care less about like a lot of the like material related stuff. Like I kind of know what I need to do as far as like comfort levels and my own preferences of what I want in life, but I wouldn't say I'm very materialistic. I don't even care, honestly. Like I've slept on the floor. You know, I've rented out like office spaces to live in instead of like actual like housing, just because it was just what I preferred. Like none of it was like, oh, I'm like in such a bind that I like have to do this way. A lot of it was just like, like why? Like why buy like a bed frame and a bed and, you know, like a box spring and all this heavy stuff that I can't move by myself. I always knew I was going to be moving around a little bit in San Diego, so I was like, I want to be able to just dip when I need to. So I never really had like a whole lot of stuff that I needed to be like caring for, and that just gave me peace of mind, honestly, just because I was able to just like do what I needed. And like when I needed, instead of being like, oh, I need to wait till somebody can move me out or whatever, or till I can afford like to pay like movers or something. Like I never had to deal with any of that. It was like, I need to leave. All right, let's leave. Like, let's go, pack up the car, let's go. Like, and you know, it was never, I mean, the time that I did need someone to help me move, it really helped very well. And, I was able to kind of like manage everything. But yeah, I do think a lot of what my folks kind of went through, you know, kind of makes them pretty silent about their past. Like, I don't really know too much about their upbringings. I mean, my dad has made a comment before saying, like, you know, things that are in the past, I don't see the point in, like, bringing it up. Like, and you know, that, as well as like, you know, like I have a lot of family on my mom's side, but I know up until probably like near my great grandma's 100th birthday, she seemed pretty reluctant to go visit family in the Midwest. I was kind of like, that was a little surprising to me. She seemed to not really like them or something, and seemed to kind of have like an idea that it was going to be a negative time. And I do recall her mentioning specifically that she had a really good time and she was glad that she did go. And then, you know, because I had been the one reaching out to, like, I don't know who, like certain aunts or uncles who were kind of telling me about what was going on. And for the longest time, you know, us being all the way on the West Coast, we hadn't really been too involved over there. Like, we went when I was like 10. I don't remember if because I remember it was the summer of my 10th birthday, and we went again when I was like, I think all the way up until when my great grandma was 100. And that was like a 4th of July time period, because we stayed and there were fireworks and everything. And then 2019 is when my grandmother passed away. I think it was probably 2017 or 2018 when my great grandmother passed away. and she was like 105 or something like that. So yeah, I want to say it was like 2013, and then when I was 10 years old. Other than that, my grandma stayed at our house for like a month or two, and we had some other family members stay with us, and like all kinds of family members on my dad's side staying with us, and then like here and there for like a month or two at a time throughout my childhood. So like we got to know some of our family members, but some better than others. And I do think when we went for that 100th birthday, I think around that time we kind of started getting more engaged with people. And around that time, you know, people had smartphones. I was able to text and everything. And so it was just a little more convenient keeping in touch. And then, yeah, I'm just, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about the family dynamics, like, and it was kind of more apparent to me that there was something that had changed with the dynamic of things more when my dad was in town this last time. Like the 4th of July when he was in town, that was like the first time I had seen him in a while. Probably since the prior Father's Day in like June of 2021. I don't really even know, guys. Like, it's hard for me to keep track. But yeah, he seemed a little more happy in July. Like, he was kind of upbeat. And then in August, he went to Zimbabwe for like most of the month, and then ended up getting sick and had to expand his trip till he could actually travel. And then when he came to town this last time in September, he was not fully well yet. But he didn't have COVID. Whatever he had, I didn't get it. My mom didn't get it. We both had like some kind of something for like a day. I don't know what it was. And then, yeah, so I just noticed the only thing we were doing together, like we weren't going out to eat like usual, because that would be something that we usually kind of would do as a family, even if it was just 3 of us, me and my parents, without my siblings. We would almost always go out to eat Saturdays, but they don't really go to church in person on Saturdays anymore, and because of the pandemic and stuff like that. And I think they've both been like once during 2022, and then, we used to go out to eat right after they got back from church or got out of church, and we don't really do that anymore. And then, yeah, so they don't really do that. I wasn't going to church for ages anyways. And eating at home is a little different because, my mom kind of cooks, like I said, mostly carb heavy stuff like noodles and those types of dishes. Not a lot of fresh fruits or fresh vegetables. She's not really into like lettuce and stuff like that, but I think she'll do spinach and like greens. But even though we grow greens, I don't really see them being cooked all that much, and I don't really cook them all that much too, honestly. We have kale, we usually have tomatoes, onions, that kind of stuff, different fruits in the garden. But, I tend to buy my own from like Sprouts too. Like, not that it's a must, but I do tend to do that. And then, yeah, but I did kind of notice, like, working from home and then having my dad around, like, while I'm working on multiple weekdays. Like, I'm not used to, like, interacting too much on weekdays after work. So for me, it is kind of a lot to be, like, living with people who might want to interact every single day. Like, in all honesty, I was not doing that every single day after work. I was more so trying to dodge the people I lived with. I wasn't really interacting too much. And it's mostly because my job is so interactive, and I like podcasting and stuff like that, and I like talking to my friends, but usually I'll see my friends like on the weekends and stuff. And then usually during the week I'm just like focused and then trying to unwind. So even if I'm spending 1 or 2 hours with somebody watching something that maybe I don't really want to watch, or having a meal that I kind of just really don't want to talk, or just would rather just watch some other thing or catch up on something else that it's like that I might not want to share like with everybody in the family or whatever, it's kind of hard for me to just be like, oh yeah, let's eat dinner tonight every single night, as well as having food that isn't really my preferred types of meals. Not saying that my parents have to cook what I want. I'm just saying, like, I can afford to buy my own food. So I do kind of buy my own food sometimes, and then I just kind of eat that. And I just kind of want to be alone sometimes, so I just eat my food just by myself. And I like to eat earlier. Like, I know my parents sometimes, when my dad was in town, they were eating at like 8:30 in the evening or at night or whatever. And I was like, dude, like, I'm off work at 4, so sometimes I'll even eat as early as 4. I rarely eat later than 8 p.m. That's very, very rare. I'm usually eating by 5, maybe 6:30 at the latest, but usually by 5 I'm already eating dinner. And so it's kind of hard for me to be like, oh yeah, let's eat, let's eat more dinner, It's like, yeah, so I did kind of make some arrangements that, even with when my parents would cook, when my dad was in town, I would kind of just eat a little snack with them. Like, I'd snack on whatever they made, because there would be leftovers anyways. So I'd eat like a piece of the chicken and then maybe a little scoop of like the veggies or something. Like, I eat some of it, but it was like, if it was like too oily, too salty, too much like non-natural types of seasonings and stuff, like, I'm not, like I mentioned, I ate McDonald's recently. I've eaten Wiener Schnitzel recently. It's not that I don't eat like unhealthy food ever. It's just that, there's just, I don't know. I'm just, part of it is that I don't really want to fully be there hanging out like that all the time too. And then, I've noticed the dynamics kind of change a little bit. Like, I know my dad didn't seem like he felt comfortable. Like, he's always kind of not talkative, but it is a little awkward to have dinner with my parents where it's like nobody's talking, or maybe I'm talking, but there's not really much that I want to share, or we're just having casual chit chat about like stuff that doesn't even matter. And then I know my dad would usually just eat and then like leave the table, and to me it felt like the discomfort was like coming off of him in waves, but I don't really know. Like, it was just kind of like socially like an awkward setting where it's like, okay, like, we have nothing to talk about. I remember one meal where I was like, literally it was just me and him, because my mom thought she was getting sick, so she was in like the living room eating, and me and my dad were just like sitting at the table eating, and we didn't even really talk the whole time. And I was kind of like, that's a little weird, but I was fine with it, because there's not really much about my life that I really feel comfortable sharing with them anyways that they don't already know. And for my yeah, I mean, like, I'm in touch with my siblings, and then, but yeah, I feel like my siblings, I can like explain to them what I'm doing or whatever. Like, none of us really judges each other. It's just, like, when I'm kind of like interacting with my folks, it's kind of like there's a lot that I do that we don't talk about that they probably know. I mean, I'm all over the internet, so like whatever. But I mean, I just feel like it's a little like I don't want to be like, I don't know, I'm just kind of that way. I just don't need to be around people every single day, especially because I am around them like enough. Like, I don't live by myself. Even before I moved, I wasn't living by myself. For me, sometimes it's enough just to see somebody in the kitchen in passing, or just be like, hey, what's up? and that's it. And like, I don't need to like be talking all day long, like deep conversations like that, you know. And just the fact that my having a very social job kind of wears me down. That's another thing where I'm just like, I really just don't have the energy to be just like interacting like that all the time. And then, you know, when I am free, I like to be podcasting or studying or talking to my friends and catching up and stuff, or just online screwing around and not really just like directly involved with some other person about their situations or their problems or whatever. So I'm hoping with this new job field, hopefully some of that will change. I hope some of that will change, that some of my social energy for family and friends will maybe change a little bit, that I'll be able to like tolerate hanging out with people a little bit more, different types of people, because there are a lot of people that I'm really just having to just not interact with, just because I can't justify, you know, having any kind of like anything in my life right now that I just don't want to deal with. The stuff that's already there that I have to deal with, that I don't want to deal with, that's the extent of what I'm dealing with. And then all the other kinds of stuff, if it involves like social situations that I can avoid, I'm avoiding them. And so I'm just trying not to be a jerk about it. But I'm happy with the decision, but I know, you know, I'm trying to be flexible too. And if a time comes where some of this way that I'm socializing has to change with some of the toxic relationships, if I'm able to either not tolerate the toxic aspects, but kind of just do my own thing within the social realm a little bit more, and not be exposed to the toxic part of it. I'm more than willing to kind of do that. Like I've mentioned before, I'm not really trying to write people off completely, but it's like I do not have energy to be losing my focus right now, to lose my momentum right now, to lose my motivation right now. I really don't want to get any other setbacks that come from outside of myself, unless it's just something that can't be helped. But anything that can be helped, if it's not like a car problem or some weird thing changing at work, or just like, you know, stuff like that you can't really like predict fully, you know. Or expecting to be like fully prepared on it. It's kind of like you're not always going to be fully prepared. I can't always be fully prepared for every single thing. And so, yeah, I'm like right now, that's just kind of where I am with stuff, and I'm kind of noticing that. So I don't really feel like I really need to budge, or like I need to alter my perspectives or anything like that. I'm just gonna go with the flow of things. But I think that's my major update, guys, like my comprehensive update with things. Just wanted to take some time to kind of lay all that out. It's just pretty much every level of everything that I've been kind of trying to get an understanding about. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna buy November 5th ticket for Lane 8 in LA. I'm gonna talk about it. I'll try and talk about it maybe tonight. I gotta do some budgeting. Like, snowboard season's coming up soon. Like, the price of a hotel with a concert ticket is probably about the price of one snowboard trip, considering the gas to and from and the hotel price. So I kind of want to, and that's going to be early November, and usually the slopes open late November. So, and I'm about to take a pay cut because I'm not working Monday, so I am going to miss out on 4 paychecks a month, 4 days worth of paychecks a month. I only get paid twice a month, but so every 2 weeks I'm going to be 2 days short of what I'm usually getting paid. So that's why I have been, I kind of briefly mentioned, I've been working on my credit, got a lot of stuff that I had not fully paid. It's mostly just student loan related stuff. This stuff is just going to be haunting me forever, but it's mostly student loan stuff. But otherwise, I'm kind of not. I mean, I'm definitely making progress on my credit score. It's gone up significantly. I just need to keep it up and keep it rising. And so it's a slow process, but it's getting where I need it to be. And then once I get it exactly where it needs to be, I'm gonna still try to make it higher. But I might be in, I'm feeling like once I start the internship in about 3 to 4 months time after that internship, I should be set to move back down to San Diego. Unless the prices hike up again, even 3 or 4 times more. But at the moment, as things look, I would be able to afford a $2,000 apartment. That's a lot of money. But if it has to come to that, I could land a job that would start me at a pay rate near being able to afford that. And so I think I'd be happy with just that. And that's why I want to finish the school part, because once I finish this school and training part of my life, I'm gonna be able to kind of move forward with stuff, just to be able to do what I gotta do. So I'm happy with my decisions. I'm happy of how things are working out currently. And it's just a long road. I like to explain to people this situation, kind of to have people along for the journey, just so, I don't know. It's kind of like, you too can do this, it's like. But I mean, if people who have been along from the time that I was just bitching and moaning all day about the people I lived with, I mean, you can probably tell that the stuff I'm doing now is way more forward focused than what I was doing before. I was definitely feeling pretty stuck before, and for a very long period of time, to a point that it affected me so much that it took a lot for me to be able to even freaking just get going. And I did spend a lot of my savings on car repairs and hotels and paying off, debt, and, getting a CD account, paying that off, and, just all this kind of learning about credit and trying to be understanding with parents and different friend situations and stuff. I've definitely been trying to get to a place that is more of what I want, and I'm definitely a lot closer. I mean, I'm definitely getting what I want. I'm not saying that I'm not getting what I want. I'm still just, it's all unfolding in its own time, and little by little I'm getting closer and closer. And like I mentioned, it should be within months. By the time I start interning, that should be 3 to 4 months, and then I should be able to land something. But I don't know how long the study process is going to take me. I have never worked full-time while studying. This is my first time ever doing that in life. I have a lot of experience with work. You know, I've been working for now, like I've been fully employed for 6 years now, over 6 years now. It'll be 7 in December. So in a couple months, I'm coming up on my 7-year anniversary that I don't know. I'll see if I hit the 7-month. I kind of sort of hope to not be in this field still then, and I hope to be interning by December, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to unfold and what is aligned for me. So I'm going to have to see how that part unfolds. And then I want to continue remote work just because I'm going to have to take a massive pay cut, and meaning that the internships are paid but $15 an hour. And if I already can't live off of what I'm making, I mean, a $15 an hour pay rate, that's going to have to be remote so that I can stay living with my family. And like gas right now is like $6.40 something cents. It's pretty outrageous at the moment. So I'm not really trying to do too much with the gasoline situation. And yeah, like I mostly just need to budget. That's mostly what I need to get up to, is budgeting and just kind of figuring out what I need to do from now on, from this point moving forward, until I can solidly just start doing what I like, start being and doing what I need to do in these next steps. But it's a lot, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes I'm like, man, like as long as my sleep is good, as long as I'm, you know, getting in some good exercise, some good social time, and there's no weird surprises financially, I'm usually doing pretty well. But, you know, I'm, you know, just with some stuff still just kind of hanging in there. And with the climate of healthcare, how it's going, like in society, it's making this job really challenging to be like freaking flopping around with everything. So that's really just making the job really hard. And I'm just trying to keep doing what I need to do. You know, trying to keep my head, you know, focused forward, and not getting in my own way, and, you know, kind of laying it all out. I mean, I do like to do these update episodes because it does kind of put things into perspective just all at once, of like, okay, every time I do one of these, it shows kind of where I'm at and what's going on with me or for me, and what I've been able to accomplish so far. I never thought I kind of thought I'd get out of clinical work, but I never thought for sure, I never knew for sure if I'd ever move back with family. I never thought about it too deeply. I mean, I knew it was always like an option, but I am very grateful. But I am just really trying to do what's best for myself. Like, I'm really treating this like an intensive like learning process and an intensive boot camp for myself to kind of get everything back in order, and taking advantage of the opportunity of being able to kind of stay with family. At least financially, it's not going to strain me, you know, and I do have a decent income especially if I'm living at home not paying rent, it's like my income's not really something to really complain about. The only thing I can really complain about it is when I want to talk about trying to move. So yeah, dude, like it is a process, but all that being said, it's not a bad process. It's not, I was looking at it as a bad, unfortunate, unlucky process, but I'm realizing more and more that it's like, this is just kind of how it is. And like I say, I don't like judge other people or compare myself to other people like in a judgmental way. But when I do look around me, I am able to notice, where I'm blessed and lucked and lucked, where I'm blessed and where I have luck and where I have, some situations I don't have to deal with that other people are having to deal with right now. That I don't want to deal with. I'm not having to deal with some stuff that other people are having to deal with. And so everyone has stuff that they do have to deal with and stuff that they don't want to deal with. And stuff that they prefer. But right now my experience is just mostly having stuff that is fine to deal with. When I'm honest about it, it's like I finally hit a patch where things feel good. I think the CBD helped to kind of get my sleep on track. Taking those days off before August helped me to get my sleep back on track too. And then all the concerts are really helpful. I find them very healing and fun and exciting. And all the friend time is really fun. I'm not trying to leave my folks like stranded, because I can tell that they need some positive social outlooks, but also it's like, I don't know what it's like to be their age. Like, I think they're stressed about I think they're stressed about just stuff that comes with their age, of like healthcare and job related stuff, like income. I mean, they're like at retirement age pretty much, but they both can work. Right now my dad's the one working, and my mom, she takes care of the house, and it's a lot of a job for her to take care of it. I mean, she's got like gardening, yard work, kind of bits of landscaping here and there, and then she's involved with the family when there are people that have health problems. They're kind of routinely checking in with one another, and she's got people that she talks to pretty regularly. And we're just kind of, I don't know, I kind of like my distance too, just because it's hard for me to, I don't know, I find myself more focused when I just do what I'm trying to do, instead of trying to like unpack every single thing for every single person at different times. Like, I really like talking to my San Diego friends about like my life goals and stuff, but when it comes to like my parents, I'm kind of like, I don't really know, like, if they really care or mind. Like, there was a point where they were like, they want us to be doctors and all this kind of stuff, but now that we've all kind of chosen our career paths that we were going to be in, me and my siblings have, like, they don't really seem to be too involved, and that's fine. I mean, they always let us know, like, if you're ever trying to do, like, go back to school or do, like, a career change or something, if you're ever trying to do anything like that, then it's perfectly fine to kind of, like, move back home and, like, get things back on track. And, like, they don't even care if we live outside of the house or inside the house, or, like, of their house or whatever. Like, they don't really care. They're not really like culturally, it's not really a hang up for them. They're not like, you're 18, you should be out, like, because you were 18 a long time ago, and like you're supposed to have your own thing and your own stuff. And like, no, they're not really like that with any of us. And so that actually helps to know that there's that backup there. But I mean, I like living my life the way I like living it, and I like having so much independence that I've never really wanted to rely too much, just because I know they're very conservative individuals, and they're very they're just conservative and not bad. Like, I think they try to understand, but I can tell there's a lot of stuff that they just maybe do not understand, even if they try. And that's fine, but it's kind of like, all right, like I'm kind of like, I don't know, like I feel like I'm kind of at a different stage and generation than they are, and so it's hard for me to kind of understand sometimes like what they might need or what they're dealing with. And I can kind of tell like that there is kind of that, like, just by the way people act, I can tell that my mom really likes to socialize more, and that my dad wants to create an environment where he's, you know, financially able to be supportive for everybody's housing and stability and stuff like that, if that's a necessity. But I don't really know. It's hard to navigate when it's like, you know, I think parents, you know, they're used to having the role of being, of people being independent. They're used to that role of, you know, they're independent adult kids, and then they are being more, like, if it's not independent adult kids, they're kind of having more of like, like their roles kind of changing a little bit as well, because, you know, there's not so much, like, I can cook if I need to cook. If I want to get my own food, I'll do that. If I need to go somewhere, I'll go do that. If I need to afford something, I'll do that, you know. My folks, I know, like, I think the thing that I've kind of depended more on my mom for is more like whenever I was getting car repairs, for her to kind of like drive to like meet me, so that I didn't have to like pay for an Uber back or whatever, like just to kind of get the car to the mechanic, and then she could meet me to like bring me home. But other than that, and then she cooks dinners a lot. Like, we'll eat dinner sometimes together, but just lately I haven't been like very sociable, just because I just don't want to. Like, it hasn't, I'm not like holding a grudge or anything, I just don't feel like it. But that's just kind of how I am. Like, I'm usually focused on my own stuff. I don't really focus as much for other people to be fulfilling stuff for me. Socially, I have a pretty big social circle. My mom was mentioning the other day, when my dad was still in town, she was like, I think it's hard for people in their 30s, like, for you guys' age, to like socialize and meet people. And I was kind of like, And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know, I don't really find it that hard. I just find it hard to meet people who are in the same mindset of wanting to get to know each other, interact, hang out, develop relationships, and like consistently take the time, effort, and energy to really get to know one another. I feel that way more, but I don't know, like I'm not really bothered. It's alright. I'm now 28 miles from Chula Vista, so I'm closer, hell of a lot closer than I was. So that means I've been recording a very long time, and luckily, you know, the weather over here, ever since I got near like Oceanside or so, or Lucadia area and up there, like the weather, San Clemente, I think near San Clemente, the weather is a little more foggy. That's kind of nice. That means it's a little cooled off, because I kept opening the windows. I know it's already loud. My car is loud on the road, and it's already loud, so that's why I'm trying to talk louder. But yeah, it's already loud, but I was trying to just like I'm just trying to drive with all this going on. But yeah, I'm still kind of feeling things out. So, but definitely making progress. So that's my update for now. I'm gonna stop this recording so I can listen to some Taco Tarantino episodes while I'm still on the road a little while, and then all right, thanks for listening.